Not everyone who sees your ad for the first time is going to want to click on it. The user could still be relevant, but you may need to reach that user a few times before they're convinced to click on your ad. That is where Microsoft Ads' new feature could be helpful for you. It is impression-based remarketing. We can now create audiences based on people who may have seen your ad, or the ad was just visible on the screen, but they didn't click on it yet. So in this video, we will show you how to set up these audiences and how to attach them to certain campaigns. And then we'll show you a few scenarios of when you may want to use this type of audience. Here we are in a Microsoft Ads account. And when we talk about remarketing, we're talking about audiences. So first we have to find the audience section. It's buried a little bit. First, go to your left-hand navigation and find Tools. And here we can see Audiences. Now, typically anything with remarketing that is coming from sending users to your website, you would really need the UET tag set up. But this is impression-based remarketing. So in this case, you don't have to have your UET tag set up in order to start creating these audiences. However, we still highly recommend that you do have one set up before you even launch any campaign. And in this case, we already assume you have it set up because in order to create impression-based remarketing audiences, you have to have other campaigns set up for us to use those impressions. So let's start going and creating a new audience. First, let me name it because it won't let me save and continue if I don't name the audience. Clearly, you can see I'm going to create an impression-based remarketing audience from one of our Performance Max campaigns. So when we look at the type of remarketing audience we want to create, of course, impression-based. Now let's click Next. For this type of audience, you can either create one by choosing a specific campaign or ad group. So I'm going to start with campaign. It's going to give me a wider reach. Of course, one particular ad group would be smaller than an entire campaign. And then you can look at selecting your campaigns. I understand I have to blur out the names of the campaigns, but what you are not going to see are checkboxes. I cannot just go right down the line and start combining specific audiences in this particular setup, which is unfortunate. So that means when we're choosing a particular campaign or ad group setting, I can't combine certain campaigns together. Let's just say I wanted to combine all of my PMax campaigns in Microsoft together. I can't do that yet. Maybe it's a feature that'll come out later. Who knows? Or maybe you have a bunch of smaller, low volume search campaigns that you'd like to combine them together to make sure your audience is large enough to serve. Again, not an option right now. Just hold on tight. I'll show you a way that you can do it. But when you're creating these individual audiences, you can't do it right away. It's kind of like a multi-step approach, which is kind of a pain in the butt. I know it's still blurred out, but this is my one PMax campaign within this account. Then you can choose your membership duration. If I do go up to this little question mark, Microsoft is telling us the duration is 7 days by default and the maximum is 30 days. Well, even though it said 7 days by default, I didn't change this. It started at 30 days. So I'm just going to leave it at the 30 days. And if you want to test out different membership duration audiences, I'd make sure you reflect that within your audience name. Now, in terms of sharing, this is an actual client account, hence all the blurring out. And this account is attached to the Paid Media Pro's MCC or manager account. So I don't want this audience to be available for all of our other clients. So I'm going to make sure it's just shared for this particular account. And then I'm going to save. I'm going to go ahead and create one more, and I'm going to show you why I'm creating multiple audiences next in the video. Let's do another one. I am going to create an audience from our brand search campaign, choose impression based again, leaving it at campaign, found the audience, leaving the duration the same, sharing it to just this account, and clicking save. Here in the audience section, if you look at type, we can add a filter by the audience type. Scrolling down, there you can filter just by your impression based lists, click apply. And then you could filter by just your impression-based remarketing lists. So it's still building depending on your budgets and the audience size for the campaigns that you're creating the audiences from. The time it takes to build these impression-based audiences are going to vary. However, since they're impression-based and not click-based, they will build much faster than a typical remarketing audience. Okay, so let me X out of the filter just so I can see this create button again. So yes, we still have to create all of our impression-based remarketing lists, either one campaign or one ad group at a time. However, there is still a way that we can start combining these audiences if you feel that some of these might be too small to run together, or the impression-based audiences are going to be very similar that it just makes sense to put them within one ad group targeting. So you can go back to create, and I named it combo because we want a custom combination list. This type of audience, it says in the description, allows us to combine any existing audience that we have created, which is why I had to create the impression-based remarketing audiences first. So click Next, and we see, if I scroll down a little bit more, we can choose our impression-based remarketing list. And here they are. So here's where we actually see the plus buttons, where we could add as many of the impression-based remarketing lists as we want. For whatever reason, going back, I can also go within any of these other audiences and include them within our impression-based remarketing audiences. So whatever you see within this category can all be combined within your combination lists. But for now, I'm just going to combine the impression-based audiences that we have. Click Done. Once again, just sharing it on this account. Click Save and filter again by type. And scrolling down, this time we want to look at custom combination, or I can also include impression-based. Ignore the top one. That was created by Microsoft, but there we see the difference in the campaign type. Even though technically they're all impression-based audiences, they're still different audience types. So that's how easy it is to create an impression-based remarketing audience list. But now let's think of the value of why you may want to do this. And to me, it comes down to previous targeting options. I'm in a particular ad group that we're just creating as an example, because really I wouldn't create an impression-based list off of another remarketing audience. What I mean is, if you already have a customer list uploaded, I just have a separate campaign targeting the customer list. I wouldn't create an impression-based audience off of that. Seems like you're taking a step backwards. What I would really consider creating for this type of audience is more of the top of funnel audiences, people who really aren't that familiar with you yet. So yes, you can create impression-based audiences off of search. Remember, there's a good chunk of these people who are not going to click on your ad, but you can still get in front of them again. So yes, search is an option, but looking at other audiences, like in-market audiences, maybe you have an audience ads, video ads, performance max campaign that is going after a higher level audience for awareness. Odds are you already have a remarketing audience created for people who clicked on it, but if there are higher level audiences that are pretty relevant to your business, consider creating impression-based remarketing audiences off of those users who may have seen your ad but never have clicked to go to your website. People are busy. You don't know what else they have going on at the time, but they could still be a valuable audience. Don't forget about the LinkedIn targeting options available within Microsoft. Yes, ABM targeting does exist within Microsoft ads. Let's say you have a previous campaign that is targeting specific companies, and your ads are showing to users who say they work for these companies on the various websites that are part of Microsoft's audience network. Think about creating impression-based remarketing audiences from your ABM campaigns, or industry or job function. Again, these other two categories that I just mentioned are also pulling from LinkedIn profile information. In case you're not aware, Microsoft has owned LinkedIn for years. You can learn more about this LinkedIn profile targeting options in this video here. But again, if you have higher level campaigns, audience ads, video ads, performance max campaigns going after specific industries, or looking at specific job functions that you're targeting, run those campaigns for a while first, but immediately start creating your impression-based retargeting audiences to try to have a new way to get back in front of these users if they never clicked on your ad in the first place. To me, that is the true value of impression-based marketing. You're still going after a relevant user, but it's still a different type of user. Now, what I would do in an impression-based remarketing ad group is exclude all of your other active remarketing audiences. So if you are using website or page visit type audiences already, or customer lists, exclude them in your impression-based remarketing ad groups. Odds are the messaging is going to be different. People who've already been to your website or people who have already given your company their email, they're more familiar with you. You can be a little bit more aggressive in your message. There's going to be a really good chunk of impression-based audiences that may not be fully aware of you, and they may have never visited your website. So you probably need a higher level message, which is why you'd want to separate out those audiences. It's an interesting new feature by Microsoft, and definitely something I would want to test for my clients who are already running more top of funnel, higher level type audiences to build awareness. It's just another way to try to drive relevant users to your website and maybe introduce them to your brand. If you have any other questions on Microsoft's impression-based remarketing lists, let us know in the comments.
Thanks for watching our video. We really appreciate it. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up below. If you really liked it, maybe think about subscribing to the Paid Media Pros YouTube channel and you'll get alerted every time a new video drops.
If you really liked it, you can help support the channel by checking out some of the t-shirts that we're wearing on our merch shelf, as well as looking at the Super Thanks button.